One, go. Hey everyone, Mike Rosehart back for another version of the Mike Rosehart show with one of my mentees, Jonas.
Hey everyone.
So we're gonna wait a minute while it sends the notification. There it goes. It is live. So we're live here for the Mike Rosehart show. Bring your questions, jump them down below. Instead of talking about like personal finance, I thought today we'd just talk about mentorship and how formal education is changing for millennials and changing in general. Hey Ellie, good to see you on. If you guys have any questions, this is Jonas, by the way.
Oh snap, how do you read that?
You squint. Get some glasses, dude. So I have one of my mentees, Jonas, here. So there are four mentees. The first is Jonas and Michael are the first two, and now we have Brandon just joined the team, and Karan will be joining soon as well. So I guess first let's talk about like how mentorship kind of works, I guess, in general. Like, what is the concept of mentorship versus like formal education? And maybe you can just like share a bit on your
formal
thoughts.
education, it's more of you have an instructor just telling you what to do, whereas mentorship, it's kind of you trying and learning and figuring out as you go along, and then having someone there to rely on, and someone generally who's done what you've wanted to do before, and you can just bounce questions off and any concerns that you might have, and they can just show you the ropes. But in the most part, it's you doing it yourself, and then having someone to be like, yeah, you're doing right. No, don't do it that way.
Good Chung's comment. He's like, who's this guest? Uh, exactly, and that's what it is, right? I think that the thing about mentorship is it's bringing back, like 100 years ago, everyone trained under, like there was apprenticeship programs, right?
Yeah, it's more like a trade,
yeah,
but in finance, for us, I would say.
It's like a trade in finance, which is rare in this industry. No one, like there was no one when I started this program, like I guess in just November when I threw this idea out there, in December, and then started to make this program real. There was no one doing this, and I'm sitting here thinking, there's a demand. There's a bunch of guys that I'm talking to on Instagram and things like that are interested in mentorship, but why is no one doing it? Like everyone's going to this formal education, spending $100,000, investing in all these courses, and they're not getting any return on their
it's
time.
It's actually a loss for them because they don't end up doing anything with it. Let's say they go into a different trade or a different field, and they don't end up using what they've learned, and it just ends up going to waste, and they're now 50 grand in the hole, and it's like, well, you're paying taxes, you're paying interest on that.
100%. So that's why I created the free mentorship program. I haven't really done an official video on it, but people that know that it's completely free. You just like move in full time with me, and we get you to multi-millions in real estate and build this up, right? And people who are my investors and follow me along, they know pretty much that the way that I now like to structure my joint venture partnerships is with basically myself and an investor, and then I share half of my profit with a mentee. So half of everything that I make in real estate on the properties, I assign to the mentee. It's the mentee's property. They treat it like their own. They're there managing it, renovating it, all of that, right? Learning. And I'm just there to mentor and guide them. The best way to learn is through experiencing. Like I can't teach you how to renovate a house without you actually physically being there and doing it. And so I thought this was the best way to create a win-win scenario where like I now don't have to worry about any management, and I don't have to worry about anything really at all. The mentee gets to experience all of that and learn, and then make a lot of money in the same time. So sort of a win-win program. There's a lot of questions here. I'm gonna have to zoom in a little bit to see. Hey Future Wiz. Hey Ellie. Hey Tommy. Good to see ya. Lil Pump. What's up? Hey Mike, will you be my mentor? I'll pledge myself to your teachings. Yeah, I think Future, you're an American citizen, so we'd have to figure out the coming to Canada part.
The visa and all that.
Yeah, the visa. Not sure how that would work, and right now the program is full, but if it opens up or we expand the program,
just buy a bigger house.
Just buy a bigger house. So I'll be moving soon for people who know and are tracking that, so that'd be exciting. Yeah, Chung says, who's this new guest? Michael Chung is one of the other mentees. He knows who this is.
He's downstairs.
Yeah. Mohammed says, hi Mike, thanks a lot for all that you do. What's your take on the upcoming recession when things get really bad? Let's say London and Windsor home prices drop 40% and vacancy increases substantially. So let's think through that.
Well, it's pretty great that we buy for cash flow.
Yeah, right? Well, that's the generic response, right? It's like we have cash flow and we're good. And so
because
it's true.
It's never a loss until you sell, right?
This is true. It's never a loss until you sell. People, like you guys know, I say that all the time. You don't lose until you sell. It's being forced to sell that's the problem, right? And so we talk about vacancy rates and we talk about dropping house prices, and why would you need to sell? Well, if you didn't have any cash flow or something happened, you need to sell, that might be an issue. But I feel like, hey Karan, good to see you on. I feel like at the end of the day, if you're buying smart, you've already bought at 80 cents on the dollar. And so if the market were to correct, in my opinion, 20% is a major correction. Like if house prices in London drop from 500,000, let's say, for an average detached house in a nice area, down to like 400,000, that's a huge drop. Like people would feel that in a big way, to the point where the government would step in. They would stimulate the economy, they would reduce the stress testing, they would find ways to make it affordable for people to buy again, and therefore rise house prices. So it's one of those things where house prices, they have a floor. So long as, I'll put the caveat in here, that the country that you're investing in is a stable nation, like Canada, where somewhere desirable to live. The United States, for instance, is a pretty desirable place to live. Where we're investing in southwestern Ontario, it's one of the best places to live. I mean, people would argue maybe Vancouver or something, but like it's a stable, safe, great place to live. So long as people want to stay in Canada, there's desire for rental. And when prices drop, people want to rent, right?
And just recently, news came out that a lot of the more affluent in Hong Kong are actually trying to get into Canada and just bypassing the US in total, which if more people come to Canada, that means house prices go up. So
correct.
Who knows?
Even if the economy slipped, even if we had GDP decrease, even if we had an overall recession in the stock market, real estate isn't necessarily as affected, and specifically rental prices for units are not as affected. What we see is that vacancy rates crop up a little bit in recessions. What you will notice is the people who were trying to buy can't afford to buy anymore, and so they'll get pushed into the rental market. They're not going to leave Canada. They're still going to need somewhere to live. Like, the only way that you lose the way that we invest in real estate, which is for cash flow, buying at a discount and focused on cash flow first, is, and the reason we buy a discount is to have insulation against a recession or something like that. And we often refinance our capital out anyway, so we don't have a lot of capital tied in our projects anyway. It's not like we need to sell to get money out. We have cash flow, and so if you work harder in a recession, which my mentees will and do, during a recession, let's say it's harder to rent a unit out, right? Because the market's cooling, people don't have as good of a job, they can't afford to pay that top dollar rent. So our units that are maybe really nice, we may have to do 10 showings instead of 2 showings. Yeah. We may have to post our ad every single day. We might have to take really good pictures and write great descriptions. But the people who have the quality product and work hard on their properties and put the energy in, they get the result. And like one thing I just want to say on like the whole joint venturing model, I think having a property manager in general, if you hire a property manager to manage your properties, they will never do as good of a job as the owner. And that's just a fact. Property managers,
no vested interest.
They have no vested interest. If it goes vacant next month, they don't care as much. And that's the problem with scaling. Like, how do you scale when employees don't care? And I learned this the hard way. Like, people who've been following me, my investors know that I've had a really hard time finding good staff who care to rent it out on time, who will stay till midnight to make sure the renovation finishes for the first, we don't get another month of vacancy. I can't find it. I can't incentivize it. The only way to do it, I believe, is through having an active partner. And so that's why I have mentees working with me, because I believe that if you're actively, like, the owner of a property cares the most about it. And so give the mentee half of my profit ownership in the property, and they'll care. And the results,
our skin's in the game, right?
Yeah, the skin's in the game. The results speak for themselves. And that type of partnership, or that type of, I guess, structure for buying property, I feel like will be good in a recession as well, because in a recession, one, we can buy 20 cents on the dollar less. So if I'm already buying in this market 80 cents on the dollar, I will get 50 or 60 cents on the dollar in a recession. People will get desperate, they go through divorce and whatever they want to sell.
3Ds.
Yeah, exactly. Death, divorce, and downsizing. So that's where you get opportunity. That's where the deals come from, right? And in a recession, all the flippers are going to go belly up. The guys who don't invest for cash flow, who buy properties to sell them for a profit. And we're already starting to see it. As the market's cooling, I've run into a couple flippers already. Good flippers who are doing who have done 10, 20, 30 flips. Big guys who you'd look up to, who I know in the next recession are going to start to struggle, if not go under entirely.
They're probably already feeling the pinch.
They're already feeling the pinches, right? And so at first it's a little bit of a pain, and all of a sudden it becomes so acute that it shuts down their business. So if you're flipping real estate, make sure you're buying property that cash flows. I have bought one flip in the last year, one property in the last year that didn't cash flow, and I'm feeling the hurt on that, because I know that if I had to sell right now, and we're in a recession, which we aren't really in a recession right now, it's a bit of a cooling period, but if I was in a recession, I wouldn't be able to hold on to this property and cash flow it. It wasn't designed that way. It's a single family house designed for someone who wants that, $350,000 to $400,000 house to live in with their family. There just isn't good cash flow on that. That's not a good property to hold going into a recession. So if you own properties like that in your portfolio, sell. This is the time to look at your portfolio and say, hey, we've had a really good ride the last 5 years, or last 2 years even, last year. We've seen 10, 20, 30% appreciation. Now what do you got to do? You got to look at your portfolio and say, hey, these properties don't fit. Sell them off. Harvest the gains off the table. Then maybe buy some multifamily stuff like duplex, triplex, fourplex, maybe some student rental stuff. Student rentals perform very well in recessions.
Totally agree.
In fact, enrollment rates at universities and colleges go up in times of recession. So if you're going to play a recession, you play a student rental property. And London, 1 in 4 people in London is a student. We have the largest student per capita. So
Fanshawe is one of the
Fanshawe is the largest college in Canada, 26,000 I think students roughly. Western has 60,000. So we have over 100,000 students in London for like a 400,000 population. That's a lot. That's more than anywhere else. So we're pumping out a lot of raw talent. And those school enrollments go way up in times of recession. Mature students go back. People lose their jobs. People flock to education, right, to find that next employment thing. Or maybe they're between jobs and they're just lost, so they go to school, right?
Or the government tries to help with.
Or the government pays for it.
Industries stimulated in Canada, so then
100%.
they start pumping new programs.
Exactly. Like they'll literally pay for people to go to Fanshawe. There was a time in 2009 where that was happening. They're paying for people to go to school, and so that's wild, right? And that's something you want to be kind of prepared for. A portfolio needs to have that resiliency built into it, and so that's how I invest in real estate. I do believe going into a recession, to kind of answer your questions, what do? Have liquidity and cash available. Have lines of credits available you can tap into. Having liquidity is important. You never want to be illiquid, which means don't have any cash. So if you ever get to a position where you don't have cash, then you're forced to sell. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't
It's
want to
never
be
fun not being liquid.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to be in that situation.
It's stressful.
It is.
It's very stressful.
Yeah, I've been there. I put myself there. We've all
been there.
At some point, right? Like
it's not fun.
We'll do a video on Jonas' success story soon here, but he's locked up over $1 million in real estate in the first 6 months of being a mentee, going from working at Home Depot to now on his journey to financial independence. So it's interesting for me. Like this is the thing that I feel like is the most rewarding that I do. Like I have bonds with these guys that's gonna like stand the test of time, right? And watching them transform from like no properties to like 10 properties the next year, which is the goal I have for all of my mentees, is like the most rewarding work that I do. And so it's less about the money for me. Like everyone says like, Mike, why don't you retire? You look so stressed out. And it's true. Like lately I've been very, very stressed out. It feels a lot less stressful for me to work with the mentees on these deals and mentor them through the project. I can rely on them to be the action taker, right? So that takes stress off me, one. Two, it feels good. Like,
and it saves with your time. Now you're not talking to the lenders. You're not talking to the borrowers. You're not talking to X, Y, Z. We're the ones that deal with that. And then if we have an issue, it's like, hey, I dealt with X, Y, Z. How do I solve this next problem?
And it gets escalated, right? And
then it gets escalated. So there's
100%.
layers.
Oh, we got lots of comments here.
Yeah.
Hugo says, whoa, nice. Hey, Hugo.
Hi, Hugo.
Okay, so thanks for answering. No problem. Okay, let's go up and see if we missed a question here. Hey, how you doing? Why did you worry about being able to pay off your debt? Or would you worry about being able to pay off your debt? So I guess the follow-up question to that was the recession. He was the same person who asked that question. So would I worry about being able to pay off debt?
Well,
not really. I don't want to pay off
Ideally, the
debt.
property itself is sustaining that debt. Like if they're I'm assuming it's the mortgage he's referring to.
Yeah.
But the tenant should be paying that debt. So
correct. In times of recession, typically what the government does when they realize we're in a recession is they cut interest rates. That's like one of the first stimulants they have. Because when you cut, like contrary to popular belief, the wealthy in this country and the business owners, they actually run the country. They actually employ everyone. And so I know the socialists will jump on, like the social justice warriors, probably not in this stream actually. If you're watching this, you're probably not a social justice warrior. But if those guys get in there and they say like, oh, forget like lowering interest rates isn't going to affect the economy. It does. Like if you drop interest rates 0.5%, business owners borrow more money and they create jobs. Real estate people borrow more money. We buy properties. We employ people to renovate the properties, right? We bring on contractors. We stimulate the economy. Like that's just a fact.
If the cost of our debt lowers, the people who like to take risk or are more risk conscious and don't mind taking that risk are more likely to take it if the debt for that risk is lower.
Of course. Yeah, it's just like it's exactly the way the
it's an
economy
incentive
works.
to produce.
Yeah, exactly. You want to incentivize people to borrow. People who borrow, a dollar invested in an economy goes a lot further than a dollar spent. I've read a wealth of research on that, and for anyone who wants to debate that, I mean, jump in my Instagram, slide in my DMs. Opinions on non-legal in-law suites and the repercussions of renting them. So Tommy, it depends. I gotta be sensitive about how I phrase this because I know lots of people who have those non-legal suites, and it can be a very sensitive topic. You can do whatever you want. Like, in one sense, I would say, like, if you have a non-legal suite, rent the whole house out together.
Or do your best to make it legal.
Yeah.
Like, is it non-legal because you don't want to go through the hassle of making it legal, or is it just you can't physically make it legal? If it's something that you just don't want to go through the hassle, well, then maybe it is worth the hassle to go and make it legal, and then you don't have... If it's something that's stressing you out and you know it's something that you can make legal, why not go and do that, and then you don't have that stress, right?
Correct. Yeah, like, there are a lot of properties now, the secondary dwelling unit rules in Ontario, pretty much any residentially can be converted into a secondary dwelling unit, assuming it complies with fire code. And even then, you can apply for a minor variance.
Fire code, and it's not larger than 60% or 40% of the...
Yeah, there's a series of requirements. One of them being the secondary dwelling unit no more than 40% of the overall floor space. So, like, for instance, if you had a bungalow and you want to make the basement a secondary dwelling unit and it was a mirror image of the main floor, that wouldn't be okay. They're 50-50 split. So what you'd have to do is, like, make another little, like, laundry room or something for the main floor, and then the rest of it could be a secondary dwelling unit. So, like, you would walk
down the stairs, that space there would be for the upper unit.
Correct.
You would have another entrance for the lower unit, and then it would be 60-40 split.
Exactly. Ideally. And you'd have to fireproof that. You'd have to fireproof the whole common entrance. You have to fireproof the ceilings.
Interconnected smoke alarms.
Interconnected smoke alarms allow you to get away with current drywall. If you put interconnected smoke alarms between the units now, you can get away with regular half-inch drywall.
No fireproofing, no soundproofing. Fire extinguisher.
Yeah, like, well, that's kind of hard with drywall ceiling, but you could put the fire sprinklers.
Yep.
They also create fire separation. You need a certain number of them per room. Like, and it mostly makes sense in furnace rooms where it's hard to drywall around certain pipes and things like that. So you can't really put the fire drywall, Type X drywall up. Instead, it's easier just to toss up the sprinkler systems in there. So yeah, secondary dwelling units are something that I'm doing a lot of them now, actually, and I'm becoming an expert. There's not a lot of people that do. Like, if you do 10 or 20 of these secondary dwelling unit conversions, you become an expert, right? So in short order, I'll be an expert on secondary dwelling units. I've done a few of them already, but won't claim expert until I've done a few more. And what I've seen so far is it's very easy. So the short answer is it's very easy to make it legal. Where you have trouble is, like, you got a basement that's like 6-foot ceiling height. Like, that's never going to be allowed. You'll have to underpin. And underpinning is so expensive, it almost is never worth the money it spends to, like, dig down your foundation and underpin in the London area. In Toronto, different case, it can make sense if the price of real estate is high enough per square foot that it justifies that, expenditure. But for the most part, you can get exceptions. You can get ways to convert your property. So if you have a duplex, it's an illegal duplex. Most illegal duplexes can be made into secondary dwelling units, which is like 2 units legally. So most illegal secondary dwelling unit or duplexes can be made into secondary dwelling units and can be legal in Ontario. So there is no such thing. Like, 99% of the illegal duplexes that I see are able to be made into legal duplexes. And so that means we don't have a legal duplex. Like, if you have a duplex, it's no longer special. It used to be like, oh, I have a duplex, it's special. It's not anymore. Like, anyone can have a duplex now because of secondary dwelling unit rules, which sucks for someone like me who went through all the work to become a legal duplex on one of my properties in 2016 and went through all the rezoning. There's no zoning anymore. Every property is zoned properly for a secondary dwelling unit. So that feels really bad to go through, like, the expensive zoning changes. I spent like $5,000 on that. So, don't be me. Don't go through that.
Or do if you feel like it. We're not going to tell you what to do.
I'm going to tell you what to do. Mentor's going to tell you what to do. So Tommy, I guess to kind of conclude the answer to your question, what are the repercussions for renting one out without making it legal?
Fines.
A slap on the wrist, I think, for the most part. I've seen that, like, they'll probably make you make it legal, which is like the repercussion. Hey, we got a super chat. $5.
Oh, nice.
I'll put that towards sushi. I've been fasting since, you haven't been fasting all day, but no. I've been fasting since yesterday. So I haven't eaten since yesterday.
He's a little crazy about it.
And that's how you get those gains.
He almost had a snack this morning.
There's a Reese's cup on the table at one of the rental properties that we're renovating, and I almost grabbed it and ate it, but I resisted. And so the sushi is going to taste so good.
You didn't resist. We made you feel guilty.
You did. These guys kept me accountable. They guilt tripped me into not eating anything.
But now we get to enjoy.
And now I'm
fruits of,
starving,
your
but I'm gonna
starvation.
to enjoy that with a nice sushi meal. So the boys are helping me spend my money too, which is just good. They're influencing me in a positive way. It's something I need. So the super chat for $5, thank you so much for that. It means a lot.
Who's it from?
It is from Mohammed
Thanks,
Mirza. What's the max interest rates getting hiked to in the future? Also, what do you do with Knob and Tube? Thanks for your time. Here's a donation. Hey, thanks for the donation. It means a lot. Everyone who appreciates this channel and donates, they keep the channel alive and keep it going. So I do appreciate that a lot. And I was happy to answer your previous questions. So your question was about Knob and Tube and interest rates. So the first part of that question, interest rates. What is my economic forecast for interest rates? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I feel like, and don't hold me to this, we are in a period right now where interest rates are going even lower. There is talk of even a further interest rate cut in Canada. So we could see
Especially
again.
if we're going towards a recession, you can't put interest rates up.
Correct. Well, like what you'd want to see is a prudent government, which I don't know that Trudeau really, the Liberals are a prudent government, but a prudent government would raise interest rates just before a recession. And our economy's kind of in a position where we could raise rates, and I think it'd be all right. But they haven't raised rates right now. They've cut the rates actually in the last year. So I think interest rates are going to be floating within where they are between 3/4 of a point. So between 2.5% to 4.5% mortgages, we're going to keep seeing. And so I think that, as rates creep up, you'll see lenders do greater discounts on the rate discount you get on your mortgages. So that's what I would see.
I think we're going to see a lot more incentivized programs for home insured mortgages. I think that's going to go up.
We keep seeing that.
Yeah.
Making it approachable for the average Canadian millennial who has very little savings. So they're allowing those 5% mortgages to be more attractive. And I do, for the first time, believe in the CMHC mortgage if you're doing the equity split. So you're buying a property with a cash flow cow that has no equity upside, then share that equity with CMHC and pay no fee. No fee to get 5% down, that's pretty attractive. And the interest rates associated with insured mortgages right now are at such discounts, they're almost making sense for the fee. So for the first time, and I will eat my words when I'm wrong. People know if I'm wrong, I'll eat my words. I've said before, avoid the CMHC mortgages. They've been terrible. Like the fee structure is higher than going and getting like mafia money. Like literally, they'll break the hard money, right? Like the break your knees kind of money. That money was cheaper than the CMHC money. Going to get 15 and 20% interest rate was cheaper than paying the fee, right? So my thought was, oh, thanks DD, appreciate that. Here with one of my mentees, Jonas. I'm gonna try to alternate and bring some of the mentees on so you guys can meet them. I wanna do a feature video on them as well. So if people wanna invest in buying properties or whatever and help these guys get more properties, partner with myself and with them, that's something you guys can do. It's a free program, so I want them to take advantage of it, and I want you guys to take advantage of it too, and we'll all make some money. But yeah, so talking about mentorship, how mentorship is one of the best things that I've ever done, and I think everyone should get involved and find a mentor. Like even if right now you're in a job and you want to learn like, I don't know, how to be a better like artist or like piano player, find someone in that field who's doing that and is crushing it, and like take them out for lunch or something. Find a way to connect with them, value for value, offer them something. Like the mentees that reached out initially were like, hey, I'll come and help you, like I'll cut your grass, I'll like hang out with you, I'll do anything, like whatever you want, right? I'll help your properties.
We gave time for knowledge, right?
Correct.
So we gave him our time, he gave us his knowledge.
Correct. And it's like, so I don't make any money from it. It's great because I don't have to worry about any taxes or anything. Just something like, that's my charity. So I give back to the boys, and in return, I have great guys that I can count on in my life. Like basically it's like, I treat mentorship like really good friendship, and like what a good friend should do. A good friend should help another friend get to financial independence. A good friend should help another friend figure out a property and all this kind of stuff. So maybe I take it a little too far, but that's my intent, and I like to go too far. It's just who I am. The second part of your question that I kind of dodged after interest rates was knob and tube, and I'll quickly address it. So the knob and tube piece, not as scary as people think it is. We're talking 5 or 10 grand to rewire a house that's got knob and tube. You run new wire, you fish it up, you use like fish lines, you can fish the wires up, you cut little spots in the drywall or the plaster so it's easier to fish the lines up. But we're talking like if you do it yourself, a couple of grand if you run the wire yourself, and then have an electrician like
especially with knob and tube. The knob itself actually is pretty thick. It's thicker than the newer wires, so that means all the holes within the joists and the studs and stuff, it's super easy just to run the new wire through the old holes.
Can be, yeah. So the way knob tube works is a tiny little like it's basically just ungrounded wire with no ground, and that's dangerous because
Arcing.
yeah, arcing, right? And like the connections tend to go bad as well. So this tiny little tube, little wire goes through a tube, and they have little ceramic tubes every so often, right? And so it's knob and tube is where they get the name from. But yeah, effectively the danger with knob, like you can actually make knob and tube safe as per ESA. This is like 2 years ago. I don't know if it's still true, but 2 years ago, I had it passed on the house. We put in GFCI arc fault protected receptacles on every single circuit. And so if there's ever arcing or tripping, that the whole circuit would go down and the GFCI would protect that series of plugs.
To be safety on it.
Yeah. So you actually don't have, like you can get away without having grounded wire if you do that. And actually it passed. ESA stamped the house and it was good. And it had knob and tube. Like ESA stamped it, said electrical safe. Because all we did was just put that on every single circuit. So you don't even have to take knob and tube out technically, but you probably should for like
if you
fire.
Can, why not? It's
yeah, I mean,
just be safe.
For a few grand, you'll get that money back. Like people see knob and tube and they go, ooh, knob and tube, and they run, right? So spend the money and
you get it back on. Like if you ever do decide to reset your portfolio, you get it back on the sale, right?
And that's it, right? So anytime we spend money that we're gonna get back, it's a good investment in my opinion. Like if you're gonna spend money and get it back, it makes good sense. So.
It also makes. It also helps with insurance.
It does. Yeah, insurance is a big piece too that I should kind of mention. In that case, the ESA stamp got us the insurance, so even though we had knob and tube, we were all right. But yeah, a lot of insurance companies, they hear knob and tube and they run for the hills, right? Typically, knob and tube mean like it's old, right? So one, it's gonna have bad connections to all the boxes probably. The wire can be brittle, it can break easily. You can have a lot of arcing, just it's not grounded wire. In general, it's way higher risk. And so some insurance companies say, I don't even want to be a part of that. And so they won't insure the property. So for that reason, we often remove it, but it's not as expensive as you might think to remove it. Yeah, so if you enjoyed that, smash the like button. Let's go up here and talk about the next question. Okay, I did that question, I think. No, we haven't done these questions. Here we go. What are you talking about today, Little Pump says? I'm talking about mentorship, talking about this guy's success, talking about whatever questions you guys have. We're just going live today and having fun with it. Instead of the standard Mike Rosehart show, I brought a guest on, one of my mentees, Jonas. So yeah, welcome to the stream. Because most people aren't like you, Mike, they don't want other people to get ahead. Then they want to burn the bridge so others don't make it. Yeah, that's rude and very common in business. Yeah. Like it, for some reason, this mentality, and Gary Vee, like he does a great job of like smashing this mentality down, where people feel like if someone else has something, you can't have it. It's like the scarcity mindset that there's only like two things.
To me, it never made sense because if you help someone get to where you are, then if you ever get in trouble, you have someone else that you know that can help you because you help them.
Right?
Like if they know what you know, then you guys can help each other. Right?
What about karma? Like if you give to the world gives back. And I do believe that's actually a thing. Like if you help enough people, they'll be there for you when you need it. And so I continue to help people. Like I have another, I had someone reach out to me. So Friday I'm doing a free call with someone who's an Ivy alum or whatever. And that's like, I don't have to spend an hour talking to some kid who's about to graduate school, but I'm going to, right? Because I want to give back. And maybe in 3-5 years, I'll need something and they'll call me back, right? And so it's, if you keep putting out to the world, you get back. And I do believe that truly, wholeheartedly. And so, yeah, I guess the short answer of it is, why do people not do that?
And anything, you only get back what you put out, right?
Yeah, like, but people are selfish. I think just the world in general right now is super selfish. People are like, they get to the top of the hill and they get the reward and they just peace off. Like they don't want to help the next person behind them up just because like the society is so individualistic. We're all about like me and my own. And that's the wrong mentality to have. Like I've been there too. I've been in the trenches where I'm like me and my own, like where I've been competing for deals against friends even back in the day when I was trying to get financial independence. And like I have regrets about, like I beat out some of my friends for deals. We were both competing for the same deal and I won. And like for whatever reason, maybe it was like skill or whatever, but I won and I felt bad. Now looking back in hindsight, I should have maybe offered them to JV with them or something, right? And like split the stuff. And that's like, maybe it's business school that teaches that like mentality of like
the competition
and like the fierceness that's like his and mine, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like your competitors in the market space, you can work with them, you can cooperate. And maybe it's now because I've reached this level of financial independence where I'm like, I'm safe and I'm secure in myself that I feel like I can give back. Maybe I didn't feel like that before, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe so many people
It's hard
are
to give when you
suffering.
don't feel safe, right?
Yeah, if you don't feel safe, it's hard to give what you got. If you're starving, it's hard to share half your meal. But I guess I have abundance, and so I've switched to an abundance mindset. And the minute I did that, my world's opened up in a big way. Like I feel better now than I did 5 years ago, just emotionally and mentally. And it feels good to give back. Like people reach out and say like, Mike, some people who don't know about a mentorship program and things like that, and say like, Mike, you greedy, like the CBC article, for instance, brought up like, hey, this greedy landlord making all this money. It's like, it's not about that at all. Like most of the profit that I make, I give back to my mentees. Like my goal is to give it back. And is that the right way to give it back? I think it is, because I think guys that are working hard and learning this trade, they deserve to be compensated. I don't want to give money to like a bum on the street who's going to shoot it up in his arm. I don't want to get into that right now because like that's like a different philosophical discussion. But I feel like in this society today, people need help and they need mentors. So we need more me out there. We need more mentors. I can't mentor everyone. Like I only mentor a few people. If I expand the program more than like 4 or 5 people, the quality of the program goes way down. I can't give you guys full days. I can't like go out and say, hey, I'm gonna give Jonas like 10 hours today. We're gonna go see a bunch of properties. There's too many people, it just can't be done, right?
It's like a quarter cup of juice and water.
Yeah, like, and I like to do half-half, you know? So people know me, I don't drink juice pure ever. I dilute it, and it's partly because I'm cheap, but partly because like environmental reasons, and partly because I actually prefer the taste at this point. So yeah, next question.
Next one.
Let's bang this out. We did that question. Canada, here I come. Love it. Happy to answer the question. I think I missed this one. If you're inheriting a tenant in a non-legal suite, is there any way to get them out apart from getting an order from the city? Tommy, even an order from the city doesn't get them out. The city, despite having illegal units, I've had cities come down, like municipality come down and say, get your tenant out, it's illegal, we're going to fine you. But they can't do anything. You go to landlord tenant board and they're like, that's not a just reason to evict someone. So you need a building permit to get out a tenant, and you have to pay the tenant to leave. It's wild. There's a reason I've separated myself from management. Like I don't interface with any tenants ever anymore. And I'm at a point where like, I'm just tired of the landlord tenant board. I'm tired, and I'm sorry for you guys to have to deal with this because you're gonna have to. But like the Residential Tenancy Act is not fair. It is strongly in favor of the tenant. And furthermore, the landlord tenant board that enforces the Residential Tenancy Act, it is very behind. Like we had an order for eviction on one of our properties we're waiting for the order just to be mailed to us for months. The eviction date has passed. We still don't have the order to file with the sheriff. So they're going to get like 6 months free rent. It's disgusting how broken the system is right now because there's not enough resources.
The judge hasn't signed the paperwork.
Yeah, they just have to sign it, but they're too busy seeing like they're backed up on all these hearings that they can't even enforce the biased
decisions
rules
that were already made.
And the decisions are based on rules that are not in our favor.
Yeah.
So like the landlord has a really hard time right now. It's hard to evict anyone ever. That's why I talk about like the cash for keys.
How it's fair to give someone free legal aid and not another person on the other side of the aisle.
Right? Like landlords get no free help. Tenants can apply to the landlord tenant board for free. Costs them nothing. Costs the landlord $175. So no landlords want to apply.
While you're carrying all those carrying costs of the mortgage.
To evict a tenant who isn't paying rent. I have to pay money. The tenant can just keep applying for anything they want. They get free lawyers, free everything.
You're basically paying 2 rents. You're paying any rent that you would have been paying that's covered by you living in the house, and then you're basically paying the tenant's rent because they're not paying you, right? So you're eating the cost of. They're still using all your utilities, right? So you have to eat that cost.
You have tons of costs. You have property. You have opportunity costs. You have your mortgage. You have your property taxes. You have your insurance. And they do damage. You have insurance. You have utilities. Everything just all raining down on the landlord. It's not a fair system. That's why I like student rentals, because I've never been in the landlord tenant board for a student rental.
It's why people are moving to short-term rentals, right?
It's why everyone's on Airbnb, because you can cancel the listing. If a tenant destroys a unit, you know what Airbnb does? They bill the credit card. Because it's not governed by the RTA. So there is damage. You can actually charge a damage deposit. You can't as a landlord.
Send a photo on your, it's like, you show proof, like here. Like
here's a video before, here's a video of after. Take a look at the damage.
Yeah. Like I wasn't living there, so someone did the damage.
No, you can track it to this day. That's what Airbnb does so well. So all these scumbag tenants that are abusing the system, and they're the minority. There's a very few amount of bad tenants are taking advantage of. They're making it hard for the landlord to do anything, and that's why rent prices are rising.
And then they complain about people not providing housing. And it's like, well, what incentive is there to provide housing if you're just going to shop?
Housing is the only non-criminal thing you can steal. You can steal housing and not go to jail. You break into break into my, if I had a grocery store and I provided food to people, that was my basic thing that I provided, and you stole food from my store, I could have you charged. And you go to jail, spend the night in jail. It's a criminal on your record. You steal rent, which is thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in many cases, and you get nothing. The police don't care.
One month's rent,
tenant board,
one
and
month's rent is
can't
generally more than what one person would spend to eat at home.
Right?
So,
like, food's a basic human right. Housing's a basic human right. Why is one not charged? Why can a landlord not apply and have them criminally? They should be taken to jail.
I agree.
Theft. Ugh. So mad. Don't want to talk about it. Okay, the other part of your question was, how do you evict them? How do you get them out? Pay them to leave. Plead to their human sanity. If they're a half reasonable tenant, they'll leave. No one wants to stay where they're not wanted, I feel like. It's the bottom 10% of tenants that abuse it for everyone else. That Anyway, people are all self-interested, and it's the nature of the world right now. It's unfortunate. Okay. Do you wholesale deals for other investors not familiar with the area at this point? So Jessica, I don't do any wholesaling. I'm a realtor, so I can't do any wholesaling. But my mentees do come across tons of deals, and they'll assign them to the investor. That's part of what they're offering when they join venture or partner. So they're finding deals under market. I know wholesalers in the market who do provide deals, and they'll assign them to my investors and and people that I know in my network. So if you want to reach out, I'd be happy to connect you with the right people to do that. I'm still involved. Like, a lot of deals, I see a lot of pocket listings and stuff pass by my desk. So yeah, I mean, that's one of my competitive edges, right? Is that I'm getting deals no one else is getting. Do you want to look in the last year? I had a lot of we did like 50 property deals, right? And most of the deals that went by my desk, a lot of investors said no. I should go back on my email and watch all the people that responded no to deals that I sent them, and then send them the sale agreement a year later when we're selling these properties of the $100,000 they missed out on and all the cash flow they missed out on by saying no. And then the next time I send them a deal, they're gonna jump on it. So it's funny how people are very risk averse, very afraid, and then I guess just document. If you're just starting this journey, document everything. You guys should be documenting everything with pictures and keeping very good records, because then people can say, hey, like, what proof do you have of your past success? Because past success is experience, and experience is wisdom. Wisdom does create higher probabilities of success. If you've done this 10 times before, you have a higher chance of doing it better the next time. That's why having a mentor is so important, because I've done it, 60 times.
Doesn't remove all of the risk, but
it removes some of it, right? There's always risk. It's buying properties and equity investment. Equity investment has risk. It's not debt investment, but then debt has risk anyway too. So no matter what you do, when you're investing in something, there's risk. You do your best to mitigate the risk, and you look for enough upside that you're protected.
No risk, no return, no reward.
That's right. So hopefully that helped you. To answer that question, how did Jonas get Mike as a mentor? Cole Taylor, how did you get me as a mentor?
That was the thing. That's a fun story.
What is the story for
reached out to you. And then I drove down here, actually.
I think I said 3 times when you reached out the first time.
Well, no, the first time I drove down here and I talked to you, you kind of like brushed me off, and you're like, oh, here's a friend of mine who's doing some wholesaling. Talk to him. Came down the next time. Kept bugging you.
You drove down from Toronto.
Came down the third time.
Yeah.
And
each way.
Each way. So about 4 hours.
You came to the monthly fire meeting.
What was that? 12 hours. So 12 hours worth of driving, and then he decided to do his mentorship, and I was just the first one to hit him up.
You were first come, first serve.
Yeah.
Now, there was actually a few other applicants who applied who weren't a good fit. Jonas was a good fit, and I got a good vibe. It comes down to feel. It's a gut, right? I have to live with them in my lower.
Yeah.
I guess they have to live in one of my bedrooms, right? So I have to be able to get along with the person, and I have to just feel like there's long-term potential there, right? I'm not going to invest all this time in someone for a year and have them leave, right? That would make no sense. But eventually, you're going to have to fly the nest.
Or 2 months.
Okay, let's go up and hit the next question. So, persistence. The more you try, the higher probability of success. So don't give up. If you want me to be your mentor, keep trying. They get passed and become by going on welfare, not real estate. Future whiz. That's too good. I like that. Hey, Jonas and Mike. Not sure if you guys remember me. It's been some time. Vincent, I do remember you, Vincent.
Oh, Vincent Chen. Yeah, what's up? I haven't seen you since the last one at the last meetup. I think it was last winter, actually.
It's been a while.
Yeah. How's did you graduate from Ivy? I think he was in Tony's. He's in Tony's year. He graduated with Tony.
Oh, true. I hope things are going well for you.
Yeah.
Let me know how
Reach
if
out.
you end up doing that, taking that job offer and staying in that field, or what you end up doing. Let me know. Okay, so Tommy says, I'm not about it if it's not viable to make it legal. Ceiling height, for example. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Ceiling
hard.
height is a big thing.
Ceiling height's a big one to get around. Like
It's
egress
very
windows
hard
are
to
easy
go
to
about.
cut in.
Yeah, it's very hard to go about underpinning. It's very generally most of the time
Ceiling height is the hardest thing physically.
to fix.
But sometimes bulkheads are framed down low with like 2x4s.
Yeah,
And I'll
or
poke a little hole to
ductwork.
find out.
Ductwork can be expanded outward instead of
Instead of doing a duct like this, you can do a duct that's like this, and you'll gain a few inches, and you can finish tight to the duct instead of like framing down with 2x4s. So
if it's something like, let's say you just have a beam, like the only thing that's being an issue is a beam, put up a wall there.
yeah, under doorways you're allowed 5'11".
Yeah,
So
and you get a 6-inch clearance on both sides.
yeah, so if you had 5'11" height under a bulkhead, frame a wall there and put a door, and it's expected to go from like say it's 7 foot height down to like 5'11", and then back up to 7 foot. Under a door, you're expected, like a human naturally ducks in a fire, so it's safe.
There
It's
are
allowed.
conditions where, like, I've seen properties where it's like you walk down, everything's good, and then there's one room where the ceiling drops to like your chest.
You might have
and
to
it
borrow
goes-
that room off.
It's like
or-
just block it off and you can't use that room.
Yeah.
If the rest of the space is good, why not?
That's exactly
You
it.
have to just make sure that it fits your metrics with and without that room.
So Harriet says, what's the benefit of being a mentor after the first or second JV? I haven't learned enough by then. Now I'm just wasting 2% debt by continuing to JV. So it depends on your goals, right? Like I think Harriet, you're talking about like partnering up. So it depends on what your goals are, right? Like if your goal is to have, I don't know, wasting your 2% debt. So like, if you want to partner up with someone and learn from them and then do it all yourself, you could do that too. It's definitely an option. The way I see it is like, so for me, it's a win, right? For them, it's a win because right now, let's say you have no properties, right? And if I were to provide all the capital, you can imagine a situation where I provided from a mentee fund all the capital you needed, then you're putting no money in the deal, that's a win. You're just trading your time for the right to earn financial freedom, right? So that's a win.
Money deal management.
Yeah, like that's basically it. Like the answer to the question is that, like explain that to them.
So
I've explained it
basically,
enough on this
in any
channel.
deal, there's 3 parts. There's the money to get the deal done, there's the management, and then there's the deal itself. If you can bring one of the 3 parts, that's value, right? So since you're bringing value, you deserve some sort of reward for that value that you're bringing.
Whoever controls the deal has all the power. Truly, like money is not power. Like
Money is
raise-
easy.
You can raise money like that. Like you can get
Yeah.
private money. You can raise money from investors. I have lots of money. Everyone has money. Money's nothing.
Yeah,
That's the
I
least
myself have
important
been able
thing,
to raise money.
right? And
And-
like even mortgages, not
Yeah.
a big deal. You can get like I know guys are getting more than 10 mortgages. So like mortgages are not a big deal. You can keep getting mortgages. There are people who go small. Once you get over 12 mortgages or 15 mortgages, you gotta go to small business. Then it's 4% interest rate, but you still can keep getting mortgages after that, right? Like some people have 50
As
mortgages.
long as your numbers still work even at that 4%.
Right? But whoever controls the deal has the power, and then the management piece, right? People think the management's the most value. It's the least valuable thing. You can outsource management for like a 6 to 8% of rents. So it's super cheap to get management in place. It's the lowest value thing that someone does, right? The real value is in, I don't know, I think the real value is in the deal and then putting the deal together and designing it in the best use case.
Yeah.
But truly, like after 6 months after I've been involved in a deal, there is like, once we put the energy in, it's pretty passive.
Yeah,
So
once,
there is no
once
real
it's all
value.
set up, it kind of just runs itself.
It runs itself. So there is no advantage to having a mentor 6 months in or whatever. Like once the property's been, maximized, right? There is no advantage to having, the partner on that. So teach their own. I mean, it's kind of back to like the selfish mindset, right? Like, do you want to have 20 deals with a friend? Like, I hope your mentor will be a friend, or do you want to have like 5 deals by yourself? And the choice is yours. So you can definitely do that. You won't go as far or as long by yourself. And so it's okay to go
It'll
by
take
yourself.
longer.
But yeah, like
No
some
matter
people
what.
just want to do themselves and they don't want to give back and they don't want to
If
share.
you want to be the lone wolf, you can.
You can. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know a lot of people that
Yeah.
they don't want to invest because they come from a background where they're always taught to keep all the equity for themselves.
The biggest one I used to get all the time, Harriet, was from JV partners. And people reach out and say like, why would I ever give you 50% of the upside profit, Mike? Or some percentage thereof.
I'm bringing all the money.
When I'm bringing all the money. And I just laugh. Like,
Oh, okay, then I'll get money.
you
from
go do the
someone.
deal by yourself. You go
Well,
do the
no,
deal by yourself.
You
I'll
go
do
and
it.
find the deal.
You go find the deal. Anyone
Figure
can
out-
find a
yeah.
property, but finding a deal.
Yeah.
And you go find the deal, you go design it for best case, you do it because you know your stuff. And I'll do it, and then we'll compare the returns. And I guarantee you, your half will be better than your whole by yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I strive for. My half for the investor is better than, and 100% passive, by the way, no work at all, which is what everyone's actually after. Like, you think I actually, if you offer me 2 scenarios right now, I'm getting rich enough where I'm starting to become the investor. You offer me 2 scenarios. One, I do freaking nothing, and I get 20% return on my money. The other one I have to do all the work, and I get 35% return on my money. I'm gonna choose 20% for no work all day long. And that is what I'm offering my investors. If you don't understand that, you're not the right investor for me.
Yeah.
So that, like, people used to give that to me all the time, and it bugged the hell out of me.
When your small piece of the pie is worth more than a full small pie.
It's because operational management dictates profit on properties. Some person goes into a property they see as a single family property. I go in a duplex and I get double the rent.
Yep.
So I can get double the return because I saw it in a different light, or I designed it in a way that had an extra bedroom. Now that gives us an extra $600 a month in rent and an extra $60,000 for resale. So my job as the mentor, or as the, I guess, active partner in the JV, is to bring enough value that I earn my half.
Yeah.
So I earn my half on every deal, and the mentees are going to help me continue to earn my half on every deal, and that's how we justify the JV partnership that we do. When you mentor with me, often you'll get deals without putting any of your own money up, right? Or any of your own financing, even in many cases. Like your first deal was a vendor take-back deal, right? With 100% private money.
Yeah.
So it's
none of either of our monies.
Yeah. So like it's one of those situations where you have to have an abundant mindset. I think the scarcity mindset limits people, and it's okay.
You have to be flexible. Your mindset has to be flexible, being able to work around
100%.
different ways.
35%. So I don't know what 35% was related to DD.
Maybe
but
you're 20% and 35%.
Oh, okay. So like 35% return on investment is very common. Like when you're buying real estate, just on cash flow, I'm getting 25% safely, and then appreciation plus mortgage pay down plus upside and value we create. So we spend $30,000 renovating, we'll often add $60,000 or $70,000 in value. So the net will be $30,000 or $40,000 ahead for what we spent, right? And so that's called value creation. So for no work on the investor's part, they put up some money, they have more equity in the property, right? It's called
just on the
basically we're putting in the sweat equity, and they get half of that. I would argue that's unfair. Like, I don't even need investor capital. I can go borrow at 10%. Oh, way to wrap this up pretty soon.
Yep.
Rapid fire round. Okay, so I lost our spot. We're gonna go really fast through all this. Harriet, we did her question.
Keep your finger on it and
Super
answer
chat.
as you scroll.
Okay. Is your mentee going to be a mentor? Do you ever have any interest in being a mentor? Maybe it'd be a senior mentor, and we get into their mentee underneath
them.
them.
Other the mentees, but yep. Okay, next one.
Andrew, what about zoning in London for duplexes and triplexes? Andrew, secondary dwelling units mean duplexes are possible everywhere. There's rezoning for triplex, very complicated.
It's not called it's called secondary dwelling unit, but it still works.
Correct.
Okay.
And then triplex, very hard. I've done one single family to triplex conversion. It's a lot of work.
Sorry guys, but
you're welcome. Thank you for your time. No problem. Happy to help. Master the Marshmallow Challenge. Hugo, you guys know I can delay gratification longer than anyone. Like, if someone challenged me to a 48-hour fast right now or a 72-hour fast, I wouldn't eat for 3 days.
Okay.
Like, I will hold out longer.
Next one.
Okay, next. Insurance companies don't knock the tube. Yes.
Yeah, we'll be there, right? We're working super quick.
Don't you require 20% for rental properties? It depends. Okay.
Ideally, but you can make it work.
Correct. Get off of welfare and work. The national debt will not pay itself.
No, it will not, and it will keep growing if you don't.
100%. Get off welfare and work. I like that. Yes, do it yourself and get an ESA inspection. 100%. As a homeowner, you can pull your own ESA. How do you get a CMHC on a rental property? I thought it was mandatory 20% down. You could say you're going to live there and then, or you could live there and then move out after 2 or 3 months. That's an option. There are ways to buy rental properties with like 10% down. I have 10 units, apartments, and studios at the moment. Love your channel. DD, thank you. Appreciate that a lot. Means a lot. Thanks for the explanation. No problem. It feels good to know you can do the right thing. Well, I have that problem now. 4 times the yearly rent, the reparations here. I don't know what that is about.
Guys, just remember, if you want more time on your questions, just jump in the chat earlier.
Yeah. I make $5,400 a month working as a social worker, no debt, a few dollars in the bank account, and want to do something else. I struggle to take action with my ideas because I factor in all the variables. Analysis paralysis is what you have.
Yep.
How do I break the wheel is my question. Take action. Go if you want to buy property, for instance, go look at 25, 50 properties and buy something.
In the
Find
words
someone and
of
buy
Jeff,
them.
Jeff Weibo, it's ready, shoot, aim.
There you go. Okay. My tenant hasn't paid for 3 months. She's moving out because she's a hoarder and it takes forever, but she lived here for 30 years as a senior citizen. Electricity is not in compliance with the law. That's a bummer. Tough to get them out. We talked about a lot of strategies to do that. Very nice video clip. Thank you. I appreciate that, Fraz.
A good way for that is maybe try and help them to find a place. See if they have family somewhere else, or see if
be a solution creator.
Yeah. Don't just be like, find a place, help them find a place. Don't be an excuse.
That's right. Put in the work. If there's a fire, I'm done. But if I go to court, she will get 6 months. Bummer. That's a tough situation. Rock in a hard place. What percentage of the money you've made through real estate investing is accounted for by appreciation? What ROI would you have with zero appreciation? So Harriet, with zero appreciation, I aim for about 35 to 40%. Most of my investment is targeted at value creation.
It's on the buy.
It's on the buy. So when I buy a property worth $250,000, I buy it for $200. So we make $50,000 day one, zero appreciation. That's what I focus on, is that plus cash flow. Appreciation, I don't like. There's some investors
it's a nice cherry
Toronto
on. It's like cherry on top.
We're obsessed with it, but I tell my investors to expect like
That's
inflation.
because in Toronto you can't get cash flow.
No, appreciation's been higher in London, and yet still. Anyway, I don't like to factor appreciation. You can't control it. So don't bet on appreciation. We don't make our returns on appreciation. I'd be a millionaire today without any appreciation. Zero appreciation, I'd be a millionaire. I'd have less than I have now, but again, still be wealthy because my strategy works consistently. Me and my partner saved $500,000. We currently rent from a close friend for a very cheap price. We need the money to generate passive income. We are open to anything you'd recommend. That's a whole coaching call in and of itself.
Or reach out on Instagram. You can reach out to me.
But $500,000 at 12% in a first secured mortgage, for instance, at 75% loan to value with lots of security and lots of safety, super low risk, is $60,000 a year. So there's $5,000 a month on your money if you just put it to work for you in a good way. So don't hold it in cash. Not smart. I don't count appreciation. I just save for repairs. Appreciation you only get if you sell. No, you get appreciation if you refinance.
Yeah,
it's a tax-free way to
pull
pull
the money
out
out
the appreciation, right?
Because it's a new loan, right?
Yeah, I don't want to pay down debt. I want to keep my debt as high as I can and refinance the money out and pull the equity out as it appreciates. That's a smart way to do it.
Because you don't pay taxes on that.
William, good to see you. Happy Wednesday. I'll catch you on the next replay. Sounds good, William. Appreciate your dedication every single week. Does this mentee have great work ethic? I don't know. Lately, I don't know. I see that hustle.
You gotta hustle a little.
We're gonna see him hustle that sushi down in the next.
I have a lot of hustle. I'm gonna be doing by April this next year. I'll have 4 deals done. So
I'm teasing him. All of my mentees have a great work ethic. They wouldn't be mentees if they didn't.
I gotta relax now. I've been stressing a little too hard last couple of weeks. So
all of my mentees have the ability to work 24 hours straight. They know when to push and how to push hard. That's a quality you need. Like, if you don't have that quality, it's hard to be successful.
If you can't go 12 hours in a 55+ degree attic, making sure we can get tenants in the next
Most of us landlords know how to grind.
Yeah.
Like, the successful real estate investors know how to put in the work. And if you don't know how to put in the work, you won't get the result. That's it. That's a fact. I have no time for people who don't want to put in the time. Does this mentee okay? Is he a grinder like you, Mike? I don't know if he's quite at my stage of grind, but like I'm insane.
He's crazy, so
like I'm crazy. No one grinds like I do, and don't be me.
Yeah.
I'm not human. Hi, Mike. Can you share Jonas's contact information?
Oh, hit me up on Instagram.
What's your Instagram? Okay, dig it up. I'm gonna do the next question while he digs it up.
Sure.
35%. Yeah, 35%. Return on investment has been a target for me. My net worth's been growing at a rate of almost 50% lately, just because appreciation's done a lot of it, but a good 10 or 20% growth just from like being smart on the buy and cash flow. That knocking would annoy the hell out of me, bro. Future Wiz. So that is my accountability partner. At least keeps me accountable, and so I'm very thankful for. In the beginning, she would push me hard, and now she pushes me.
Kaflichon, and if you want,
can someone spell that?
Oh, it's Jonas, Yonas, and then just underscore KIFLETSION, or you can just find me.
You can comment on this video after.
Yeah, I'll just comment on this video, and you guys can just reach me through there.
And you guys already know my Instagram at Mike Rosehart. Like, go follow that if you don't already. And Neil, thank you for the comment. Who is the better gamer, mentee or mentor?
Well, it depends on what we're playing. Mentor. If it's Counter-Strike, it's not fair. World of Warcraft, I will have to give it up to him. But it depends on the game.
League of Legends. Who's the natural better gamer? I mean, we have to test that.
It depends.
Super Smash Bros.
If it's I'd probably wreck him. But
I don't think you would. I play Kirby.
It's not really fair.
Yeah, it won't be fair.
It won't be fair for him, right? So he doesn't have.
So you think I'd have
hand-eye coordination?
You think I'd have bad reflexes, but no.
Who actually knows?
Old's all relative.
Yeah. You have glasses, don't you?
I do have glasses.
So
yeah,
2020.
I guess I am old. Anyway, so the secret to unlocking a wealthier you is to spend less, earn more, and maximize returns. Yeah.
I think that's about it.
That's pretty much it. That's the end of a live stream.
You got to do bath time, so we can go to sushi.
Sashimi!
Dinner is always fun. Oh, bye guys.
There you go. Karan put it in. So we'll see you guys all next Wednesday. Maybe I'll have another surprise guest. Another mentee will be featured. We'll see. Maybe not.
We might. Yeah, we're done.
All right. Bye.
Bye.